Treated right now for serious injuries after a shooting at a restaurant. The search for the shooter as well as a motive. And we have that breaking news. We're following this noon hour. It could be hours more before the backup on I-440 subsides. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Traffic is closed in both directions on I-440 at Hillsborough Street due to a gas leak. This is a live look from Sky 5 once again at those backups. WRAL's Brett Neese is live near the scene. Brett, when do crews expect to have the work complete?
Renee, this is going to be hours before they are able to cap this gas leak and then reopen some of these roadways. I'm right now live on Trinity Road. You can see all these people that are walking over to Gate 9. Trinity Road is gridlock at times because of how much traffic is on here. There is a lot of traffic that's being diverted around different parts of the fairgrounds because of these road closures, including 440 and Hillsborough Street, two of the really biggest roads to get over to this area. But we were over there at that scene that Sky 5's on top of right now, and we could actually hear the gas leak itself. Take a listen. Yeah, that is the gas leak itself. We're going to find out how big of a gas main that may have been hit by. Crews over there in that area. It's going to be hours before they are able to first cap it, and then the repair work starts. This gas leak is so close to the overpass there at Hillsborough Street. That's why police had to shut down all of 440 in both directions right there near there, and that's what's causing all of this mess here throughout the day. We're going to be talking to people that are going to the fair. And we're going to stay on top of this breaking news with Enbridge Gas to find out how much longer it'll take before they are able to cap it, reopen it, and get things back to normal. Live in Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Just the timing and the location couldn't be worse for that. Fayetteville police, meantime, are investigating a triple shooting that took place at a deli right next to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. The shooting happened around midnight in the parking lot of the Manhattan Deli, and WRAL's Gilbert Bays is live after speaking with the owner of that business there. Gilbert.
Yeah, in talking with him, Jeff, he said this was some scary moments, not only for his employees at the deli that were working inside. That deli's open 24 hours, but also for the staff and management and the patients here at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. You see it's right next door. We want to show you some footage from the WRAL breaking news tracker that was out here on the scene when this was happening.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we're going to get right to that situation that's happening in West Raleigh right now. You can see right now that gas leak that's causing all this delay around the state fairgrounds. The state fairgrounds are like right in here, and you're not going to get anywhere. Let's get right to Sky 5 to show you the backup that's happening right now on the Beltline. It's understandable that a lot of the people here in this traffic are trying to get to the state fair this noon hour, but you can see traffic is backed up all the way to Cary Parkway, all the way back to Jones Franklin Road for that matter. And honestly, there's not much getting around this, because if you're stuck in that traffic, they're getting you off on Western Boulevard and you're working your way over to Western Boulevard and possibly to other local roads to get around this. But there's a lot going on here. You can see this huge backup, and it looks more like a parking lot, to be honest with you. I want to give you another view now. This is Trinity at Blue Ridge Road. You can see that's always backed up during the State Fair traffic, but you can see even more so now. These are folks trying to get into the State Fair right now, and these are folks trying to get out of that traffic jam. But I want to go back to Scott 5 again and show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is the Beltline. Both sides of this Beltline completely shut down. It's virtually a parking lot.
A federal investigation is underway into Tesla's full self-driving system due to concerns over its performance during reduced roadway visibility. Jared Halpern explains what activated this probe.
Tesla's full self-driving feature is under federal investigation after reports of at least 4 crashes, including one where a pedestrian was killed. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says each time the software was engaged in areas with reduced road visibility from sun glare, fog, or airborne dust.
It's hugely unfortunate that these crashes are happening. They're horrible and they shouldn't be happening. It proves that self-driving technology has got a long, long way to go, longer than some car makers are willingly free to admit, I'd say.
According to Tesla's website, the autopilot and full self-driving features require active driver supervision and do not make the car autonomous. The probe will examine more than 2 million cars equipped with this technology and assess their ability to respond during times of low visibility. The NHTSA will also look into whether similar crashes have occurred. The investigation comes more than a week after Elon Musk unveiled the Tesla Cybercab, a driverless robo-taxi. But like all automakers, Tesla will have to get federal approval before launching a car without standard driving controls.
Your average passenger car is only used about 10 hours a week out of 168 hours. But if they're autonomous, they could be used, 5 times more.
It was Jared Halpern reporting. Tesla recalled 2 million cars last year due to problems with its autopilot system and addressed the issue with a software update.
A confusing text message led some North Carolina voters to believe their ballot didn't count. After the break, we'll walk you through how to check the status of your vote. And extreme weather is taking aim at areas once considered safe havens. Why experts say those areas are vanishing. First, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Happening now with the WRAL Live Center. We're staying on top of that breaking news that's affecting that gas leak, and the traffic is being affected in West Raleigh this noon hour. Here you can see the huge delays it's causing right there on those eastbound lanes of I-40. Right now, 440. Right now, we're being told that traffic is being diverted off of the Beltline onto Wade Avenue. That's causing another set of backup on those I-440 westbound lanes all the way back to Lake Boone Trail. And this is what it looks like right now on Lake Boone Trail, and that northern loop of the Beltline. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us very slowly. It's basically a parking lot in that particular area as a result of this gas leak that's going to take several hours to really take care of this noon hour. Give you another look at what's happening around the state fairgrounds. This is Trinity and Blue Ridge Road. That's the usual state fair traffic trying to get in there. And a little while ago, there was bumper-to-bumper traffic of many of these folks trying to get out of that traffic jam that we were seeing in West Raleigh this noon hour. But once again, you can see the road closures on the Beltline in the eastbound lane of I-440, and of course the backup now starting on I-440 westbound. We will stay on top of this gas leak and let you know any new information during this newscast, and of course in our news starting at 4.
It's just such a busy area. There's nowhere to put all that traffic without jamming up all the side roads there.
Yeah, such frustration for those drivers.
Tough afternoon. All right, new this noon, the State Board of Elections is explaining how to know if your vote counted.
The board released the information after several people received this text message saying that they may not have voted with their address listed. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now to explain how to make sure your voice is heard after you cast your ballot. Noah.
Renee, important and interesting information here. After WRAL 5 on your side broke the story about that text, we've received more than 50 emails from people saying they got one that looks just like it. Here's how to check to make sure your vote counts. It's just 3 quick steps after clicking voter search on the Voter Board of Elections website. This first page is where you're going to put your name, your birth year, and the county that you voted in. It's just your basic information. Once you hit search, it then pulls from voter registration data. You'll see this, it start pulling. It takes about 2 seconds or so, and then you finally get your name. You're going to click your name, and I want you to double check, make sure the city and zip code match, and then click on it. Now we're going to take this next graphic. It'll load up your voter details and jurisdictions, and eventually you're going to want to scroll to the bottom, and then here's the key. We're going to circle it for you. It'll say accepted. That's how you know exactly that your vote has gone through. It's been accepted. It takes roughly 24 hours. We actually had someone in the newsroom who voted yesterday. Their ballot still has not shown up as accepted. So again, roughly 24 hours, then check. And again, you're looking for that accepted note. For people planning to vote in person on Election Day, you can use this same tool to track your ballot. The state board says it might take just a couple of weeks or longer after the election to see that result eventually pop up. If you vote absentee, it's a similar process from that same link. Early voting, we should note, set a record this year with more than 1 million people casting their ballot in North Carolina in just the first 4 days alone. Back to those similar texts that we're talking about. If you received one about your ballot, we want you to let us know what it said, what town or county you're in. Email report@WRAL.com.
Great explanation, Noah. And if you didn't catch all that, we will post that whole explanation on WRAL.com so you can find out how you can check your vote. Now, if you have questions about your polling site, WRAL has you covered. Learn about each of the candidates on your ballot, be informed, and set a reminder to vote. You can do it all on WRAL.com. Search vote.
The Harris campaign is making a stop in Detroit today, along with a rare appearance from one of its native sons. Eminem, a rapper, is set to introduce former President Barack Obama at a rally today. You might recall in August during the DNC roll call, DJ Cassidy used the song Lose Yourself as a musical salute to the state of Michigan. It's also one of the songs former President Obama says hyped him up during the 2008 campaign. Several former GOP officials and government attorneys are calling on the Department of Justice to investigate Elon Musk's $1 million sweepstakes. Musk has already started giving away $1 million to registered voters in battleground states. Voters in 7 swing states, including North Carolina, must have signed his political PAC's petition to qualify for the daily prize. Federal law prohibits anyone paying people to register to vote. Musk has supplied at least $75 million to America PAC to help Trump regain the White House.
As climate change fuels extreme weather, some Americans have decided to pick up and move. They are choosing cities that have been celebrated as so-called climate safe havens, including Asheville. That was before Helene hit. NBC's Hallie Jackson reports many are finding that such places may not exist.
To Melissa Booth, Asheville may never look the same.
It's gone. I mean, it's completely gone. This is where I enjoyed so many hours of relaxing and enjoying the river.
Her favorite hangouts destroyed by the flooding after Hurricane Helene. And it's along this river where we first met Booth and her husband 3 years ago after they'd moved here from coastal Georgia.
Was climate change the only reason that you decided to move?
I would say it was the biggest reason.
Asheville had earned a reputation as a so-called climate haven, along with places like Duluth and Buffalo. Not immune to climate change impacts, but maybe more resilient, which came up in our conversation with Booth, a climate scientist.
There's also no hurricanes, no big tornadoes, no violent weather patterns.
Today,
the best data showed that it was insulated from intense hurricanes, from severe droughts. After having lived through this flooding, I realized that I was wrong to think that Asheville is a climate haven or that there is a such thing as a climate haven.
More than 90% of counties in the U.S. have had at least one disaster claim filed. And over the next 30 years, some estimates predict 7.5 million Americans could move because of climate risk.
When they think about buying a home, they think about where to live in a way they just didn't 20 years ago.
Experts say it's not about zero risk, just how much and what kind. From wildfires out west to extreme rain and snowfall near the Great Lakes to, yes, inland flooding in places like North Carolina.
We need to have strong plans for when this happens again, because it will. It's going to happen to every community across the U.S.
But Booth has no plans to move again.
In natural systems, resilience is the ability to bounce back. And that's what I want Asheville and all communities around the planet to have, the ability to bounce back. And I want to be part of that solution.
Hallie Jackson, NBC News.
And one way for the people of Western North Carolina to bounce back, there's a benefit concert, and tickets are on sale now for that concert in Raleigh to help those people. WRAL is proud to be the media sponsor of Music for the Mountains. The show will be held at Red Hat Amphitheater in Raleigh Sunday, October 27th at 6 p.m. Old Crow Medicine Show is the headliner. Performances also include Chatham County Line and BJ Barham of American Aquarium. All proceeds will go to the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina.
All right, take a look at your screen right here. See those 2 feet right there? That is a woman stuck between two boulders. And we're going to explain how she wound up there and how she got out.
Plus, one airport is putting a limit on how long you can hug someone goodbye. What happens if you go over that time limit? Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, new information just into our newsroom concerning that breaking news we shared with you at the top of the hour. Fayetteville reporter Gilbert Bays reporting about a shooting at the Manhattan Deli in Fayetteville that injured 3 people. Well, in the last 10 minutes, Gilbert found out that a 17-year-old is now in custody in connection with that shooting at the Manhattan Deli. Of course, this is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. It shows investigators collecting evidence. We will stay on top of this story and bring you any new developments in our news starting at 4.
Ken, thank you. A Republican election supervisor reached a plea deal for failing to certify the 2022 midterm election. Peggy Judd pleaded guilty to refusing to perform in official duty. Under the deal, she must at least spend 90 days of unsupervised probation and pay a fine. Judd, who is still in office in Arizona, will preside over the presidential election next month. If she fails to certify the results, she faces up to 30 days in jail for violating the deal. Washington correspondent Olivia Nuzzi is no longer employed by New York Magazine. She was placed on leave last month over a previously undisclosed personal relationship with former presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. A law firm reviewed her work and found that the relationship did not result in inaccuracies or bias. Even so, both parties agreed to part ways.
SpaceX Crew 8 mission from NASA might spend some extra time on the International Space Station. Now, NASA says the return could be delayed because of weather conditions around the splashdown sites off the coast of Florida. NASA says if conditions improve, that vessel could undock from the ISS tonight. An Australian woman had to be rescued after she fell and got stuck upside down between these two boulders for 7 hours. The woman had been walking with some friends on private property when she dropped her phone. She tried to retrieve it, slipped face first into that crevice. Her friends tried to get her out for about an hour. They tried to free her, but eventually they gave up and called emergency services for help. The rescuers finally freed that woman, who only had minor scratches and bruises. And as for the phone, it's still down there somewhere between the rocks.
What an ordeal. A bridge in the heart of Boston is being renamed for a towering figure in social justice and the NBA. Why some say it's a fitting honor for the late Bill Russell. Four-time MVP and NBA champion LeBron James and his son Bronny look to make NBA history tonight as the first father-son duo to hit the court together in the regular season. The two played together in the preseason game against the Phoenix Suns in a game the Lakers lost 118 to 114. King James and son will be joined by some baseball royalty in the Crypto.com arena. Hall of Fame baseball player Ken Griffey Jr. and his father hope to witness the James duo make the same history that the Griffeys did in 1990. Nike is extending its exclusive partnership with the NBA and WNBA to be the provider of on-court uniforms and apparel for another 12 years. Nike's previous deal went into effect in the 2017-18 season. The renewal comes at a crucial time for Nike's new CEO. He's trying to return the company to growth after it reported the worst drop in quarterly revenue since 2020.
A new bridge in Boston will bear the name of NBA legend and civil rights activist Bill Russell. The North Washington Street Bridge will be now known as the William Felton Bill Russell Bridge. The former Boston Celtics star died 2022. He was 88 years old at the time. Russell was a 5-time NBA MVP, 12-time All-Star, and the first black head coach in any major U.S. sport. He was also the first player to win an Olympic gold medal, an NBA championship, and a collegiate title.
I think it's very fitting that the bridge is getting named after him because what a bridge does is bring people together.
Now, He bridged a lot of gaps, Russell did, in his career. And the bridge will open in the spring of 2025. The plaque bearing Russell's name will be installed on the bridge later in the summer.
Love the symbolism, the meaning, and the tribute. And speaking of building bridges, something that brings people together, glorious weather like this, right?
Elizabeth Gardner is out there, not on a bridge, but on a patio. That's a pretty nice place to be this noon hour.
Yeah, I definitely drew the good straw. Whether it's short or long, I don't even remember. But happy to be out here today with this beautiful weather, that's for sure. We'll take a look around the area. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all looking gorgeous right now. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant, and we're seeing sunshine everywhere, courtesy of this high pressure system that's been with us for the last several days. It is keeping things dry. High pressure systems have sinking air. It condenses, it dries out. The next thing that happens, though, is this front that's back to the west. It's really sort of a trough there, that brown hatched line. There's very little rain with it. We're going to see that sweeping through on Thursday. And behind it, we'll see some delivery of cooler air. It's not going to be a big drop, but we may see an even bigger drop on Sunday with front number 2. But for today, 79, tomorrow 80 at the State Fair, 74 on Thursday. Some really pretty weather at the State Fair coming our way. Watering forecast, yeah, you probably have to keep it up if you've got anything that you want to, keep around. We're looking at dry conditions at least through Saturday, but Saturday night there may be a tiny bit of rain. It's not going to be enough to stop watering, though, if you're still trying to keep up that garden. Precipitation outlook from the 27th through the 31st, so that last week of October, continues to look dry, and that's great for trick-or-treaters. We do have a front that comes through, and this is going to be our very best chance of rain. It's going to be Saturday night, and you can see that green blob, or can you? It's kind of hard to see there, isn't it? We're probably looking at less than 1/10 of an inch of rain with this band that comes through. And if that changes, we'll let you know. But right now, it just looks really dry. And then high pressure builds in. High pressure systems rotate clockwise. And where that high is going to sit, we have the potential for a pattern called cold air damming. It will likely pick up some of the cool, moist air that sits off in the North Atlantic and push it into our area. So that northeast wind and then will bank up against the mountains and create this dome of cool air. And high temperatures will be in the 60s Sunday and Monday, maybe even into Tuesday. And we typically have a lot of cloud cover with a pattern like that and sometimes some drizzle. But it looks like it's going to break down toward the end of the week, so that by Halloween we have high pressure that moves to the south and switches our wind to southwesterly, and that should be a warming pattern for us. So right now our Halloween forecast is looking good, likely to see highs in the 70s with a low chance for rain. That is still possible to change, so just keep checking in. We're looking at the 11 o'clock advisory for Oscar. It still just has winds at 40 miles per hour. Most likely it's going to fizzle in the next 24 hours or so. Shouldn't have to worry about that one too much longer. The two fronts that come through will start to drop our temperatures, though. Thursday down to 74, 72 Friday. Saturday, if you're going to the fair and you want it warm, 81, and then some changes Sunday, 68. It is going to be dry, and I can't say enough about our Music for the Mountains concert that's going to be at Red Hat to help people out there in the mountains of North Carolina. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be a really good show, but it's going to be cooler on Sunday and Monday. Stick around. We'll be right back with your top stories.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today.
Hillsborough Street and part of I-440 is shut down right now in West Raleigh because of a gas leak. And this is a live look from Sky 5 at the gas leak. The closure could last into the afternoon hours, complicating things for families going to the State Fair. Now, before 9:30 this morning, the road was closed between Barrel Road and Blue Ridge Road near the fairgrounds. That is still closed, as well as I-440 between Wester Boulevard and Wade Avenue. The leak was caused by a damaged gas line, and they're trying to fix it right now.
Big mess out there. 17-year-old is now in custody in connection with a shooting at Manhattan Deli in Fayetteville. This is video taken from the WRAL breaking news tracker. It shows investigators from the Fayetteville Police Department collecting evidence there. 3 people who were shot were taken right next door to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. It is very close to that deli. Police say all the victims knew each other.
Happening today, we will receive an update about key future initiatives planned for Raleigh's historically black universities. Shaw University's president and St. Augustine's interim president will share updates to Raleigh's Economic Development and Innovation Committee. The HBCU roundtable is planned for 1:30 this afternoon.
Environmentalists say news of a fish sighting in Southeast Asia is offering new hope. Experts say climate change and man-made projects like hydropowered dams are hurting some of the species that once thrived in the Mekong River. The giant salmon carp was last seen nearly 20 years ago, leading experts to believe it was extinct. But a Cambodian fisherman caught a couple last year, and environmentalists hope there are more out there and that other species will reemerge as well.
Saying goodbye at the airport can be sad. Get this, one airport is putting a time limit on how long those goodbye hugs can last. The New Zealand city of Dunedin is giving passengers 3 minutes for hugs in the drop-off area. The airport authority says it's an effort to reduce traffic jams from those embraces. Signs are posted reminding passengers of the farewell policy.
I mean, like anything, you're gonna create a bit of debate, but I don't see this as humane at all. And actually, really, really important that we are having a bit of fun with this. We don't have hug police, not yet anyway. And if people overextend their hugging time, that's okay.
If you think about it, 3 minutes hugging, that's kind of a long time. Visitors can relax knowing that there will not be any harsh enforcement over the policy.
It gets weird after about 2, I think. Meta is bringing facial recognition technology back more than 3 years after it shut the system down on Facebook due to backlash. Now Meta will deploy the tools on Facebook and Instagram to fight scams and help users who have lost access to their accounts. The first test will use the feature to detect scams that use faces of celebrities and public figures. Meta says people will be able to opt out and facial data will only be used for comparisons. NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
We'll give you a virtual hug here. Time is up. You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.